So just sit back and relax, because the show's about to start. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Hey, i.e. this is Mr. Inland Empire, and you are on with Down to Earth Talk Radio, and you are on Kcaa AM 1050 and 106.5 FM. And thank you so much for joining us today. Want to get some housekeeping out of the way, and want to remind you, if you want to check out the UFC 197 fight tonight, you got to head out to My NY Pizza out there in Fontana at 15034 Foothill Boulevard, Suite B in Fontana, California. And it's right there on Foothill, near where the new DMV is located on Hemlock, on the corner of Hemlock and Foothill. Can't miss it. Head on out there. $10 cover charge to watch the fight, and $1 Bud Light all night. So anyway, we also want to thank our friends over at ieshineon.com for being the best of your fun time guide here in the Inland Empire. So if you are looking for guides on date nights, or if you're looking for guides on what to do this weekend, or any of the other many guides that they put together, head on over to ieshineon.com. And we cannot forget Inland Empire Explorer, your number one place for the best there is to do and see right here in the IE. Joel Green walks you through the Inland Empire like nobody else, with over 250 different videos on their website, inlandempireexplorer.com. And they also can be seen Thursdays at 5:30 on KVCR Channel 24 and 6 p.m. on Saturdays. So right after this show, jump on to KVCR Channel 24 and see the locations that Joel will be highlighting this week. I think this week we have 13 Ice Cream, which is a pretty cool place out in Fontana over on Arrow. Julian puts together some pretty cool ice cream. So check out the videos. And if you missed the show, go to inlandempireexplorer.com or just type it into YouTube, because we host all of our videos there. All right, guys. So now that is all done, today is a bittersweet day for me, because we, as you probably heard from Sizzle last week, that this block of radio is coming to an end. And we've been blessed to have an opportunity to be a part of this radio station, this show, working with Danny and Sherry. And I just want to first and foremost thank Danny and Sherry for giving me and my group the opportunity to come on and have some radio time and talk to you guys about the community and what's going on, and just really highlight some of the cool, undiscovered, unknown things that's happening in the Inland Empire. And secondly, I would like to thank all of the many guests that we've had on. Pastor Braxton out in at the Living Way Church out in Grand Terrace, Ray Lozano from Prevention Plus. We've had a couple of councilmen. Councilman Sean O'Connell, vote for him, by the way. City of Rialto, Councilman Sean O'Connell for City Council. Re-elect him. Awesome. Michael Tejan from the City of Fontana, another great councilman. He came on and talked to us. Bradley from InlandEmpireLawyers.com. We've had Little Saint, who was my co-host, and he was on the show. We just had so many people. We've had so many cool things going on. Jessica Avila with awesome local young lady with a booming voice, and we got to play her new original on the radio live on air for the first time. So that was cool. So we've done some cool things. We've done some firsts, and we have had a lot of fun. But it's not over. We will be continuing just on a different format. If you go to Let's Talk Community on Facebook, you'll be looking for my ugly mug behind this beautiful microphone, and you will be put up to date. We're actually going to turn this into a podcast, a video podcast. So it's done here with KCAA. We thank KCAA for the opportunity. They've been awesome to us. I want to thank our board op, Joe, back there. He's done an awesome job. He's the consummate advocate for making sure that we know what we're doing and making us sound awesome. And he is the awesome timekeeper, because if I didn't have him, I don't think I would be able to finish and start when I'm supposed to. So just want to thank everybody for everything that they've done for us, the opportunities they've given us to interview. And if you guys are watching us on the computer right now, you're watching the live feed, and you might see this attractive young lady sitting to my left. And a lot of people don't know it, but this is the reason why I wake up in the morning. This is my beautiful wife, Amber, and she's actually the awesome teacher that we keep talking about all the time. So we look all spiffed up, and got my tie on. She looks all pretty in her dress, because we're actually heading over to Rialto right after the show to the Putting on a Ritz gala out there. Sayeda Joffrey was able to give us an opportunity to have some VIP press access, so we're going to be covering it for Rialto Now, which is a blog that we write for the city of Rialto. So we're going to be out there checking out the Ritz and checking out all the cool talent from the kids. It's a fine arts and music gala that they put on every year. I saw the Sun paper that they wrote. The gala has raised almost $500,000 for the arts programs in the city of Rialto. So, Rialto Unified School District. So awesome. That's cool. I'm so happy to be a part of it this year. And in a few minutes, you're going to hear an interview that I did about a week or so ago with Dr. Avila. Dr. Avila is the new superintendent to the city of Rialto. He came from LA County schools, and I wasn't entirely, as I've told some other people off air, I wasn't entirely sure what was going to happen because, as we all know, LA doesn't produce the best in education. They seem to always be doing it wrong. They seem to be having to fix things. So I was a little apprehensive, but actually me and my beautiful co-host sitting next to me, we got a chance to listen to the interview and check it out as I was editing it and stuff. And if he can get accomplished what he said, right, it's going to be an awesome education system for the city of Rialto. So I was actually very impressed. I've been impressed because I'm rough on our leaders and elected officials, as all of them will tell you. And we're going to see some of them tonight, because this is the to be event when you are running for election, and we are hot in the election season right now. So we're actually going to be queuing that up in a minute, but he did an awesome job. I'm very excited for what's coming for students in Rialto Unified. And if you would like a little outside of the interview, look into what happened, what he said off camera, what we discussed before and after the interview, head over to rialtonow.com, and we will be posting a blog post with the actual video podcast, video interview that we did with Dr. Avila. So I just want to thank everybody that made this possible. Joe, thank you so much. You did an awesome job. I want to thank the station manager for letting us stay on the air. Danny and Sherry, you rock. All Things Are Possible programs, you rock. And here you go with Dr. Avila from the Rialto Unified School District Superintendent. Joining us today. This is kind of a good get for me, because I've been wanting to know more about the man who is helping our kids and running our schools, and a lot of people in the community have had different questions. So thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
One of the first questions we had was, you're just about a year into your time here at Rialto Unified. What's it been like? What has the first year been for you?
It's been great. Having the opportunity to really get to know the district, the community, the staff, the kids, and the different activities that are taking place to really benefit our kids has been amazing.
That's good. And so I know that part of your plan was to kind of ease your plan into the district, not come in shock and awe and, just drop everything on everyone and make them, feel you out and deal with it. That you were kind of going to take a slow approach. So what happened? What did you implement this year that the parents in the community saw, but they may not have known was directly because of your plans for the district?
So a lot of it really just had to do with systems, making sure that we're following protocols of communication out to the schools. Some of the things that we've done, I tried to change the approach from administration to make sure that we are here to serve. So one of the big things that we did was we initiated the year with a community-based random act of kindness.
You saw them.
which you're familiar with. So we've tried to grow that out into the mindset so that as leaders, we're continuing to have that mentality that we're here to serve. But a few of the highlights that we have implemented, again, as I mentioned previously, making sure that our schools are recognized for some of the great things that they are doing. So one thing that I did, I encouraged the elementary schools to apply for the Gold Ribbon Award, which over the last couple of years has replaced the California Distinguished School Award because of assessments being suspended at the state level. And so we have 2 schools that are currently nominated to receive the Golden Belt Award. That would be Myers Elementary and Dallahan Elementary School.
Dallahan Elementary, that's the school my daughter goes to.
Yes. The other thing, we have began to transition to place a lot more emphasis on K-12 programs, so that next year we transition into having a K-12 literacy initiative with a lot of emphasis on K-3. We know that reading scores, reading levels, reading skills up to 3rd grade are essential and can determine future outcomes for students. So we're going to place a lot of emphasis on K-3 literacy. The other is we want to streamline the STEM-focused K-12 as well, to really get kids excited about STEM in elementary school and really reinforce some of the things that are being done currently at the middle school and give the high schools very specific pathways so that kids, when they start in elementary school, are introduced to STEM, but by the time they reach high school have options with respect to pathways so that when they graduate, they have a very clear idea of what they want to do with themselves.
And with any of that, is there going to be any type of like mapping done with the students to make sure that what we're doing with them fits? Because, you know, we're so diverse. I mean, you and I and anyone else that could be sitting in this room, we could all have similar ideas, but our plans and goals for the future can be, and even talents can be so like skewed when it comes to individuals. So is there going to be any possibility of maybe looking at individual talents in kids and putting them into certain categories?
And yes, that's part of the process. There's software that allows us to survey students, to survey their interests and their actual skill sets that are going to help us inform the, not the tracking, I don't want to call it tracking, but the interests of the kids to properly align them with the options that we have available for them.
That's vital because, you know, one of the people that we work with is a holistic career coach, and we find ourselves, one of the things that she continually harps on is we find ourselves pushing kids into certain, like, if you love math and you're good at science, then you should be a doctor, or you should do this. And there's such broad categories, and there's so many other, you know, smaller branches off of those skill sets that where kids could find success and actually like what they're doing. How many of us spent time working a job we hated?
Absolutely.
So we don't want people to hate the job. We want them to be successful, because if they're happy, they're successful, right?
And if they love it, obviously they'll be a lot more successful. And I misspoke a little bit earlier when I mentioned STEM. It should be STEAM. STEAM, because we're going to add the arts as part of the STEM.
Oh, that's another question that we had.
So we don't want to leave those kids out of the process either. And we're also going to be asking the schools to really go back to, the principals to go back to their schools to work with the community, the local community, the staff, including the kids, to really determine what STEM area they perhaps want to really emphasize as a local community, so that it's not an identity that's going to be pushed down from the district office, to allow the schools to specialize perhaps in a particular area, even though they'll be offering STEAM across the board. But some schools may want to take an opportunity to really develop an identity for itself, and we're going to allow the schools to take those options. Some schools, like Preston Elementary, may want to emphasize a lot more on the program that they're currently working on right now, which is really geared towards the kids that are middle of the road kids, that really targets that program, as opposed to going perhaps with a specialization exclusively out of the STEAM.
Cool. So for next year, I'm guessing part of that is, you know, the new way of approaching the way that we develop our students from elementary school through high school. But what else do you have in plans for next year, part of your plan to implement that we might be looking forward to?
So the strategic planning district-wide, from what I'm told, this district has never had a strategic plan.
No,
it's something that staff and others have inquired about upon my arrival, and it's something that I wanted to work with the board in moving through, because absent a strategic plan is a little difficult for the district to have its own identity and its own priorities in place, where then the schools and the rest of the district can build their goals and their priorities and align them to the strategic plan, so that we can have a collective voice that really represents the voice of the community, the schools, and of course the Board of Education, so that we know what it is that we truly value as a district, as a community, and what it is that we're going to prioritize over the next 3 or 5 years as a district.
So, looking at one of the things that has come up a lot before you ever arrived here and has continued is the community is really still seeing a gap in the communication between the schools, the district, and the parents in the community. Is there anything you had in plans to help kind of tighten that up a little bit?
So it's multifold. We have included or added Facebook to our communication platform. We've enhanced our Twitter process in order to, again, communicate with the community. But with the strategic plan, part of it goes beyond us expecting for principals to communicate, expecting for staff here at the district office to communicate with the sites or with the community. So we're adding 2 pieces. One is we're bringing a program called Kcaa, which is going to give us the opportunity to mass communicate through cell phones, through an application on smartphones with the community instantly. That's going to allow the schools to send out mass communication again to the parents via the applications on their iPhones as well. But with the strategic planning, what I've learned this year is that we do have a severe, as many organizations do, severe case of under or miscommunicating. Mm-hmm. And at the core of it, I'm learning is it's not so much that we can't get communications out and about, is that I don't believe that as a district, as a community, we value communication the way that we should. Yeah. And that's what I want to target first, that I want to make sure that individuals take personal responsibility for owning communication, for valuing it, because absent valuing the communication, it almost seems as though I have to individually direct people to communicate with schools or with the community. It shouldn't take me, it shouldn't take the director of communication to monitor, micromanage at that level something that we should value communicating with others. Yeah. So it's really looking at the core of what's probably causing this, and I know that the district has experienced some unfortunate events in recent years that has, I guess, kind of forced staff to resort to keeping silo and isolation, to holding things in for fear of others coming after them, or for fear of putting information out that may backfire. And I want to get away from that. I really want to, again, create these systems that allows us to freely feel comfortable to communicate with people when we have the right values in place, so that we're not living in this world of fear because we don't want information to get out, or we're wanting to be misunderstood depending on what it is that we send out. Yeah,
and that's actually a key. One of the things on every single test for employment, when you test for a job, that you see, that it's probably the most confusing question that anyone's ever come across is, what do you do with information? How do you disseminate information? Who's responsible for that? And there's such a plethora of options. You're like, well, some of these sound good if you want to keep people informed, but I don't think I should because I think it's not. So even so early on as hiring people, we confuse and make that so difficult. So yeah, you're right. We have the community has had quite a bit of turbulence over the last couple of years, and I can see how that would play to that too. Is there anything that the parents can do to help with that, like reaching out to who? If parents wanted to reach out to somebody to get more informed, who do you think that appropriate person would be?
And as of right now, it's really the Office of Communication here at Central Office. But again, parents should feel comfortable going to their school sites to get whatever information they wish to have, or at least be directed, or feel comfortable going to the sites and feel that they're being directed to the proper office to secure that information. But certainly making our website a little bit more robust would help in the communication process. But again, even establishing that trust between parents and the school sites is something that we're working on right now, so that parents feel that it's still their local community school and that it's a place where they can feel welcome and receive the proper information that they wish to obtain at any point in time.
So moving on, one of the things that, as educators, constantly making sure that everyone's prepared for college, gets to college. And recently, ROP was transitioned from the county level into the school districts. And now it's called CTE, right? And so the CTE programs for a lot of schools are helping students who may not be college bound still find a place in the workforce and be prepared to enter it. What do you see for CTE over the next year or so for Rialto Unified? Because we've seen a lot of, all we hear about in the community is, go to college, get them ready for college, but we kind of seem to whisper on the side about, kids who aren't going to college. And someone like me who's been to college, who didn't really get anything out of it, and I hate to say this, you hate school. So, some of those kids may feel like they're being kind of pushed aside, they're not important. So what are your plans to kind of help change that a little bit and make sure that CTE is what ROP used to be?
And as part of what I mentioned briefly earlier regarding pathways, but what we've done is we've really taken a look at what it is that we're offering, what we're doing, what we're not doing. And again, as with other areas of the district, it's been kind of siloed and pushed on the side and allowed to just kind of move along without any clear direction or vision for this particular program. What we've done is we've taken a group of 15 to 20 site leaders and central office leaders, and we visited Downey Unified School District, Long Beach Unified School District, Glendale Unified School District, and we're currently scheduled to visit Porterville Unified School District because they have model CTE programs, and we want to benchmark what some of the best practices and programs are that are out there so that we can kind of measure ourselves to see where we stand with respect to other districts that are really outdoing or outperforming most districts in the state in this particular area, and see what we can learn, see what we can bring to our district. We definitely have the personnel, we have the talent, and we have most of the resources that we need to have exemplary programs for these kids, but we haven't had a plan or a vision to carry that out. And so we, again, want to be able to expose our team, our staff, to some of the model programs that are out there for us to be able to replicate and refine based on our local needs, based on our local interests and our industries that are here in the Inland Empire, but to also offer our kids model programs that they deserve. So that's part of what we've been doing over the last couple of months. We can plan to continue it over the next few months so that we can map out the pathway interests starting for next year. We've also taken a team of, it includes high school principals over to Tennessee to study their collective impact model, which is part of what we're trying to do with career technical education. So we've given our team that's very directly involved with the career pathways the exposure to some of these model programs throughout the country, and especially regionally, locally here in Southern California, for us to take the next steps to improve the quality of programs here.
And the ROP program, what it used to, what it was called before, it was awesome. My father-in-law is a 25-year veteran of the program, and I've a couple times had the students down at Rialto High School working on my car, and it's just so awesome to see all these kids not only fixing my car, but also learning at the same time, and they're engaged. Not a single kid is bored, not a single kid is off diddling around. They're all circled around the instructor, they all have a job, so it's an awesome program. So we're happy to see that we're actively working to create a plan to see it forward.
And what we've done initially, we don't want to have the pathways isolated either, but we're really approaching this through a linked learning model, which really is going to ensure that other curriculum areas such as English, such as math, such as social science become a part of this process, so that the pathways, the concepts of each pathway are reinforced throughout the curriculum. The teachers that will be working with cohorts or teams of students will have same planning periods for them to meet, to look at data, to see how they can tackle a particular question that kids in a pathway will be tackling, and having it reinforced through the other curriculum. So it's really going to be a comprehensive effort, so that the CTE teacher is not working in isolation on just skills for the kids, but are really making this a robust program for students to get the core curriculum as well, and then be able to tackle these real-life problems comprehensively at the school sites. This is a much more long-term process. It takes years for that to really materialize, but we are starting that conversation now, and we're going to be starting at individual high schools in pathways that the principals and their teams believe are ready to actually implement throughout the curriculum.
Cool. Now, actually, we're just about a half hour away from the Ritz, and I heard that the Ritz has actually you've been talked to about bringing putting on the Ritz program at in the city of San Bernardino.
Correct. So some of the officials from San Bernardino reached out to us, wanting to know if we could sit with them, meet with them, and kind of go over the process of putting on the Ritz. There's been a lot of interest in San Bernardino City to implement something similar because they understand the quality of the talent that goes into planning these kind of events, and an opportunity really to showcase very specific talent in the community from kids. They know that it's the district's premier program when it comes to highlighting the talent that we have across the district. And so they want to do something similar in their city, perhaps to build morale, perhaps to highlight some of this talents within the city, but especially in the district. But the city is taking the lead here. So they reached out to us. We met with a team of 8 or so people from the city of San Bernardino and really mapped out the steps that logistics that go into putting this program together. And right now with our Office of Communication is in communication with them, in contact with them, to really guide them through this process. So it really just kind of highlights the quality of this particular program, where an actual neighboring city has reached out to us wanting to replicate a program similar in their city.
And it shows the success of the program, right?
Absolutely.
And what's kind of nice too is what we like about the Ritz is it shows the dedication of the school and of your office to still recognize the importance of drama, music, art, even athletic programs. Even though athletic programs aren't part of the Ritz, those are all vital to the success of the students and the success of school, right?
Absolutely, and understand, excuse me, that the program is done without a budget. It's done on donations and contributions from outside sources, with little to no budget here from the district office. So again, it just shows the type of quality and the conviction that staff has and how much they care for these kids, because they want to make sure that this program is presented year in and year out.
And we actually put a feeler out for what would people in the community would like to ask you. And one of the questions was directly in line with our arts programs, is asking, is that important to your office? And so you said you're adding it to, it's not just STEM, it's STEAM now, and it's going to be integrated in some fashion, it sounds like, into the CTE process, because even though some of those computer and drafting courses were formerly an ROP field kind of thing, and so some of those kids who have that artistic bent that can be integrated there, and then still with the Ritz, it looks like you're not forgetting our artistically minded students.
No, not at all, and I want to obviously keep up the momentum that started last year with adding VAPA to the elementary schools. We're going to add additional personnel to make sure that all the kids receive the VAPA instruction regularly.
What is VAPA?
Visual and Performing Arts.
Okay.
At the elementary level, again, which shows how the district is valuing and prioritizing the arts at the elementary and middle school level.
Well, we've actually exceeded our time, so I want to thank you for sitting down with us for a few minutes and kind of letting us pick your brain, and we look forward to year 2 with you here at Rialto Unified School District.
I too am looking forward to it, and thank you for the opportunity for me to share a few of them.
Listening to KCAA, Loma Linda, California. The best station in the nation.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
NBA playoff action in progress right now. Second quarter in Dallas. The Oklahoma City Thunder have a 39-27 lead. OKC leads the series 2-1. Earlier, it was the Indiana Pacers evening up their series with the Raptors, a 183 win. Miami, they lead 2-1 now after Charlotte defeats them 96-80. So they take the first game in Charlotte. Coming up later on tonight, about 90 minutes from now, it's Game 3 between the Clippers and the Blazers, with LA leading 2-0. NHL Stanley Cup playoff action from earlier. The Penguins advance to the second round after getting by the Rangers 6-3. They win the series 4-1. After dropping the first 2 games of the series at home, the Anaheim Ducks have come storming back, and they lead the series now 3-2. Another victory, 5-2 earlier over Nashville. We are in the first